Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am your co-host Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are continuing our 7-round mock draft series, and we are going to do the Chicago Bears and their 7-round mock draft. But before we get into that, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to get notified when Ryan and I create new content. Ryan and I, we have a goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers by the NFL draft, which is April 27th, just over a month away. And to be honest, I'm not sure when we started this series, I didn't know if we can make it there. However, we have gotten over 100 subscribers in the past week since we've started this series. We are now sitting at 684 as I say this Sunday night, March 19th. So help us out, reach our goal. It's the easiest way for you to help out the channel and creating new content. We love adding on new people to the channel. So hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, help us get to 1,000, and we would greatly appreciate it. Ryan, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
The Chicago Bears have had everything but a boring 2023 offseason so far. Trading back to the number 9 spot. We all kind of figured they would trade back ever since Lovie Smith successfully went for 2 against the Indianapolis Colts. And I say they got a great return coming back. I know it was only 2 first-round picks, and they exchanged a first-round pick. But then getting DJ Moore on top of that, I think it gives them an outside shot of a win now opportunity while still rebuilding and getting the tools. And so we did this 7-round mock draft last Sunday, March 12th, and we've been continuing this series. And so we're going to start out with the Chicago Bears as we do the NFC North. So Ryan, at pick number 9, Chicago Bears are on the clock. Who do they take?
So we have them taking Peter Skoronski, the offensive tackle from Northwestern. And look, I know what everyone's saying about him. He has sub 33-inch arms. Well, he has 32.25-inch arms. Like you're picking at small things there. And I just think he's the best technically sound offensive lineman in this class. He's played all 3 positions, center, guard, and tackle. And to get a guy like that here at 9 that can play all those positions at an elite level, I mean, you can plug him in at left tackle day 1. It doesn't work out. You can flip him to the right side or move him into the interior. And I really like him as a player. His tape is really good. He handles just about everything that a defensive end can throw at him really well. Yeah. And yeah, I just think that's a solid pick here at 9.
Well, and that's one, I think the overall consensus coming into this offseason and probably still is that Peter Skoronski, technically wise, I gotta fix this, with his technique and everything, is the most refined of this offensive class. Yeah. And one of the reasons why we have him taking him here is because of the overall versatility that he offers. And the Chicago Bears need offensive line help everywhere. Center, guard, tackle. They just lost Riley Reef, so he can start at right tackle. If that doesn't work out, he can kick in the guard. That being said, though, we were talking about this before, and to me, this pick at number 9 is just a surefire offensive line pick. It's a great pick if they go Paris Johnson Jr., Broderick Jones, maybe a little early for Osiris Torrance, but they really wanted to focus on interior offensive line. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that pick, even though I think that there probably would be those first 3 guys would be better options just right here. But I like this Skoronski pick because he provides a lot of versatility both on the outside and inside offensive line opportunities. But any offensive lineman here for me would be the best pick. He was the first offensive line picked off when we did this draft, and he kind of actually started a string of offensive linemen coming off. And so they need offensive line help to protect Justin Fields and that offense because they're completely retooling and rebuilding. And starting in the trenches, I think, would be the best opportunity here. So moving on, though, now their next pick is pick 54. They don't have the 32nd pick because they traded that with the Pittsburgh Steelers for Chase Claypool. But they did get this pick with I believe it was the Carolina Panthers trade. So here we had them taking, let's see if I can do this, Felix Anudike-uzomah, edge rusher from Kansas State. I think I did okay there.
I have it as Felix Anudike-uzomah.
Okay, so not horrible.
You were pretty close.
If you're new to the channel, you subscribe, you will instantly become used to me not being able to pronounce names. And so I can't even pronounce my own name, so it's totally okay. So, anyways, I love this pick. They addressed the trenches on the offensive side of the ball, and now they're addressing the trenches on the defensive side of the ball, something that they just greatly need in general. They had one of the worst defenses last year, and so just getting best player available at pick 54 is tremendous.
No, yeah. And he's an every down edge. He plays well against the run. He's a really solid pass rusher. I think you look at him, and I think you look at in a day one starter as a solid edge player with really high upside. Athleticism and bend is really solid.
Yeah.
And I like him a lot as a prospect, and I think who's the head coach? Matt Eberflus would like him a lot. I think he's a really tremendous player. You're going to get him for 4 years, and I like him. I like him a lot here at 54. So
yeah, absolutely, same here. So now they address the offensive side of the trenches, defensive side of the trenches, with their 62nd pick.
Yeah.
And one thing to note as well, if the picks are a little bit off, that is because the system we use counted forfeited picks. So at the 62nd pick, we have them addressing the running back position because David Montgomery is now not there. Khalil Herbert needs a running mate, and I don't feel Deontay Foreman or Travis Homer are going to be the guys. I think that they are going to be more backup rotational pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And here I have them taking my running back number 3 off the board, Zach Charbonnet, running back out of UCLA. I think a combo, especially over the next couple of years, of him and Khalil Herbert, I think would be phenomenal. And then Zach Charbonnet eventually taking over the RB1 responsibilities. And I think him in the backfield would be a great combination at this value here with Justin Fields.
No, yeah. Zach Charbonnet, really great tape, really versatile running back. I think day one he can replace what David Montgomery brought. So yeah. I really like that pick there. 3 picks later, at pick 65, Garrett Williams, the cornerback from Syracuse, had an interesting 2022. He was actually hurt. I think he tore his ACL, so he missed out on a lot of the testing and things. And he's, I think, getting a little underrated for the skill set that he brings. But to me, when I watch his tape from 2021 and then the first half of 2022, I see a lot of Devin Witherspoon in him. He lacks that dog mentality in the run game. He's not quite that physical downhill tackler that Devin Witherspoon is, but when it comes to mirroring people and being able to stick with receivers, he's top notch in this class. And I think that's something that this defense would love to have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and at this point too, they need to address the secondary. And I think in this mid-60s, there's a lot of good cornerback talent in this class. Yeah. And so not addressing it earlier, I think that's okay, because then they can go and get a guy like Garrett Williams later on in the draft as well. And so I like this pick, especially now. They don't pick for another 40 picks here until the beginning of, I believe it's the beginning of the 4th round. Yeah. So starting out here, then picking at 104, I've been taking Xavier Hutchinson, receiver out of Iowa State. This is a guy who really came on during the Senior Bowl. I like his tape. I think this is a good value here as well to help kind of start retooling that receiving room, even though they did just get DJ Moore in that trade. We know they have Chase Claypool. Darnell Mooney is also there. However, I'm a little skeptical on those latter two, just on their overall consistency to produce. I think Xavier Hutchinson can come in and compete and to get some reps, and just having good receivers is going to help Justin Fields, but it's also going to, I think, help the Chicago Bears and the fan base really see, is Justin Fields the guy? Because objectively, up to this point, he has had Cole Kmet. That has essentially been it, and I think Xavier Hutchinson can come in, be a consistent guy that the Bears can rely on to produce and to get open.
No, yeah. I like him a lot. He's 6'3", like 215, but he's more of the big slot, like the power slot receiver. And he is the definition of consistency. I think he had like a 4% drop rate at Iowa State. He runs good routes. But my pro comparison for him is Jacoby Myers, who just signed with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
I think he's just a really solid wide receiver. He's different than I think anything they have, because DJ Moore, Chase Claypool are more outside wide receivers. Darnell Mooney is that speed slot kind of receiver. And so I like this pick a lot. Next up on the board is pick 134, where we have them selecting Gerard Clark, the defensive lineman from Coastal Carolina. And this is a hefty fella. I want to say he's like 6'3", 360, but he moves pretty well, has some pass rushing upside, but really, in my opinion, he's a run stuffing nose tackle that has really good length, and is going to be hard to move off the line of scrimmage even with double teams. And I think that's well apparent on his tape. a lot of Sunbelt offensive linemen really, really struggled with him at Coastal Carolina. And I like this pick at the end of round 4. Throw an investment into that interior defensive line, and I think it'll pay off. So
I know we have received several comments about like how we use PFF for stats and player rankings, but I think there's something to be said when looking at this defensive line stats from last year. Everyone who remained on the team after trades and everything from the Bears, none of them were ranked inside the top 100 in their respective positions of people that qualified. So getting a big boy that is hard to move out of the way, I think can only improve this defensive line moving forward. So the Bears have 4 more picks left up to this point. So let's just kind of run through them here. At pick 137, Henry Tuatua from linebacker out of Alabama. I think Toa. Okay, I apologize. So, that being said, linebackers that are just players from Alabama have to give them some clout as well. And I would say he had a very good career at Alabama, and this linebacking core is a little bit weaker in this draft. And so I think getting him here at 137, I think it's good value and someone that can maybe compete in on day 1. The next pick 150, Zach Kuntz, tight end out of Old Dominion. I like this pick, but they have since signed Robert Tonyan from Green Bay, an older tight end, so maybe he can help out with Cole Kmet, but a potential developmental project piece, I think, to replace as him and maybe Cole Kmet. If they don't want to pay him a bigger contract when that time comes, they can develop him into their number 1 guy.
Yeah, Zach Kuntz is an interesting prospect. He's like 6'8", like 250-ish, and he's a really good receiving tight end. Obviously, with that 6'8" frame, he's good at boxing out safeties and going up for jump balls. But he actually had a scholarship to play at Penn State and then transferred home to play at Old Dominion so he could be closer to home. And so he's a really interesting prospect there. And to get him at 150, I think is a good value there. So last but not least, they have a couple 7th round picks. Nick Saldiveri, the offensive tackle, also from Old Dominion, and then Anthony Bradford, the interior offensive line from LSU. These are just solid depth pieces, camp bodies that I think you're going to bring in, and they have some good traits. Nick Saldiveri has good length, and Anthony Bradford played at a SEC school at a fairly high level, and so I think you're going to bring those guys in, see if they can compete for roles on either special teams or backup roles on your team. So all in all, I really, really like this draft for the Chicago Bears. I think that they are building on a lot of what they've done in free agency here in this mock draft, and I think it sets them up really well for success in the future.
Well, and especially with what they've done, or I mean, just with the trade and getting to DJ Moore, as you said, is already kind of a win in my book. It's like I think I've seen this stuff is they need to make a statue of Lovie Smith outside their new Bears Stadium, especially too like if these guys turn into MVP, who they're able to draft, turns into MVP type caliber players. And so I think this is going to be a draft that's really going to set the Bears up for the future to compete.